And then you can actually get the message in the back. Please.
Don't feel shy.
Thank you very much. Speaking very well.
I'm pretty tired. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Krishna, you're watching this.
Thank you.
Oh.
You're a little bit higher than me. At least a little bit.
I stopped getting high a while back. Thank you.
So, I'm going to just...
First we'd like to welcome His Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, who agreed to come for this auspicious time and occasion. We were hearing from Rancho Prabhu yesterday that about you joining in Manchester. But then I think if you remember from last year, actually His Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhu was initiated in Trafalgar Square. I think, was it 73, 74? 72 Rath Yatra. So he's spent a lot of time serving their lordships. So we're very honored and blessed to have him here with us. And coming all the way from Manchester Leicester.
I came from Leicester.
Came from Leicester to speak. So please let us welcome His Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Prabhu by chanting very loudly.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I feel very honored, Hare Krishna, to be here today amongst all these very wonderful devotees. And thank you very much, Hare Krishna. I feel especially honored to be in the company of all of you, and especially His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj, who's just given us some serious nectar about Prabhupada's books and how important they are. And one of the things that always strikes me about Prabhupada's books is the amazing way in which we get to associate directly with Srila Prabhupada by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada explains that these books are nothing but his words. There's sound vibration, but in printed form. And one thing that Prabhupada did wherever he went was always to try to give the devotees the opportunity to hear from him. So, because by hearing from Prabhupada, everything changes. There's a nice purport in the Bhagavatam which explains what are the words of a pure devotee, that they're actually mixed with the saffron dust-like particles from the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore they are very effective in touching the heart of the conditioned soul, or anyone who actually hears them, whether they be in the deepest depths of a conditioned life, or whether they be the most elevated person. It's described that this sound vibration, like the Mahamantra, acts like a highly potent drug injected intravenously, and it has wonderful effect. And Srila Prabhupada explains that these books that he wrote are meant for everyone, whether they're on the highest stage of realization or whether they're total absolute beginners or anywhere in between, because everyone will be able to become completely enlivened by actually reading these books and discerning some nectar. So one of the things that is very powerful is the process of watering this seed that Prabhupada has very kindly placed directly and through his followers in our hearts. And Lord Chaitanya describes that this watering process is none other than hearing and chanting. And when we can become fortunate enough to hear from Srila Prabhupada and discuss and describe what we've actually heard, then we become incredibly fortunate, because then the seed is growing practically. It starts to be nourished and sprout and become very good, and gradually grow all the delicious fruits and beautiful flowers that are the natural results, the natural byproducts of this seed, this bhakti lata, this devotional creeper. So this process, as Krishna describes it in Bhagavad Gita, he says, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always conversing with one another and enlightening one another about me. And so the subject matter for this is actually exactly what Srila Prabhupada has given us in his beautiful books, to give us real transcendental stuff. The subject matter for the katha between devotees is to hear and describe what's actually in Srila Prabhupada's books. And this is such a powerful process. I've probably mentioned this before, but I feel no embarrassment in mentioning it again. There's a very wonderful purport where Prabhupada explains right at the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 116 to be precise. So if anybody wants to look this up, please do feel free and encouraged to do it. But it's a powerful set of statements that Prabhupada describes. If you look in 116, Srimad Bhagavatam 116, and look 6 lines up from the bottom of the purport, Prabhupada gives some very powerful information about what is actually in these literatures and the hearing from the devotees. He there explains that Shravanam means hearing, and Kirtanam means explaining. So what are Prabhupada's books? Prabhupada's explaining all about Krishna to us. And there, Prabhupada explains that only by this process of hearing and explaining can one perfectly assimilate the science of Krishna. It's such a powerful process. And he explains also, because that's what these books are, they're to make it easy to understand the science of Krishna. That only one who has properly heard from the right source can properly explain this subject matter. So this whole process of trying to imbibe and discuss what we've heard from Srila Prabhupada's books is so not only enlivening, but illuminating and informative and valuable and awakening. It's such a good experience. So if we can take advantage of this process of reading and hearing at the same thing, just actually coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada. When people didn't come to Prabhupada's classes, then Prabhupada was not pleased, because he travelled all the way around the world, not for the devotees just to catch a glimpse from him, of him, but so they could get a chance to hear from him. Because this hearing is the beginning. Without the hearing, what sort of speaking will we do? If we're actually hearing from Prabhupada, then what should come out is our practical realization of what Prabhupada is saying. This is sometimes called preaching, it may be called sharing, or as Maharaj very nicely pointed out, that to love thy neighbour as thyself. If you've got something which means so much to you, something very wonderful to you, then loving your neighbour is to want to share what you've got with others. So this is something very, very good. Anyway, Maharaj's class was for me, very enlivening, and I'm very happy to have that opportunity. But what should I speak about? What would you like to hear about?
Your realization.